everyone. My name is Jeanette Manfra, and I'm the Director of Risk and Compliance at Google Cloud. Thanks so much to the National Cybersecurity Alliance and NASDAQ for having me here today. It's great to virtually be here with all of you to discuss important topics like our current state of security and ways you all can enable security transformation with the cloud in your own organizations. Prior to joining Google Cloud about a year and a half ago, I spent roughly 20 years in the public sector in various security roles, first in the Army and then at the Department of Homeland Security, where I spent a great deal of time working with a lot of great colleagues to establish the Cyber and Infrastructure Security Agency. My last job before I left the government was as the Assistant Director for Cybersecurity Division within CISA. While I was there in the government, I eventually realized that we were at a disadvantage. We didn't just have these legacy systems to deal with, but we also had a legacy mindset. Our policies and capabilities were really reliant on a perimeter-based approach to defense. And this was really hampering the government, and frankly, it happens a lot to a lot of organizations. So I spent my last few years in the government doing my best to modernize this approach to security and supporting the many people who share this vision and continue to do so. Security has really risen to the forefront of concerns for enterprises and governments globally. Attacks are ripping across our software supply chain, zero-day issues in widely used email services, and ransomware attacks on critical infrastructure industries are evidence that our adversaries are not only getting bolder, but they're becoming more successful and unfortunately more prevalent. 10 years ago at Google, we undertook a major initiative to reshape security within our organization when we found a nation-state actor in our systems. It happens to everybody. But the important thing is to learn from it. So we were able to detect the intruders, but we recognized that going forward, we had to expand our thinking about the threat landscape and to rapidly and continuously evolve our security approach to keep us ahead of attackers. We worked to address the root of the vulnerabilities that attackers would seek to exploit in our environment so we could eliminate entire classes of threats that we faced, which is something when you're a company at the scale of Google, you can actually do. But perhaps most importantly, we embraced the mindset that security is not static. We knew we needed to continuously reevaluate and reshape our thinking and align our processes and technology to our current understanding of the situation to accomplish our security goals. Today, we continue to operate with the same mindset, one where strong security doesn't come via a box or a magical product. Instead, it's the result of a continuous refinement process that's embedded into our culture, delivering resiliency for long-term change. By making all of our products secure by default, both the ones we use internally and the ones we provide for our customers, we keep more people safe than anyone else in the world. So today, I want to talk to you about how you and your organization can implement a similarly successful security transformation. So the first thing that organizations need to do is to create a sustainable, secure environment for your security transformation, and by doing that via modernizing your IT environment. There have been a lot of cases over the last decade in particular where companies have invested a lot in cybersecurity or security products, but have not upgraded their overall IT infrastructure or modernized their approach to software development. This is like building on a foundation of sand. It might look okay initially, but it is going to degrade over time. Companies and governments are getting more mature, of course, and we're happy to see that, but there's still many organizations that are still having challenges from moving from the old to the new while still trying to sustain their day-to-day operations. We strongly support modernizing computing systems, making security simple and scalable by default, and adopting best practices like zero trust frameworks. As we saw with recent attacks like the Microsoft Exchange proprietary systems and restrictions on interoperability and data portability can amplify a network's vulnerability. This can help an attacker scale up their efforts. Being tied to a single legacy system also keeps the public sector agencies and many businesses from taking advantage of the latest cloud-based security solutions. Public and private sector organizations need to stop defending indefensible systems, the same ones they've been reliant on for decades. We need a modern mindset to address these evolving threats. Moving to the cloud enables governments to take advantage of cloud-based protections that provide security across the software stack and through the entire information processing lifecycle. So cloud is often about moving because it may be cheaper, or you're trying to enhance your data center capacity. But so much of it is about the added security capabilities that you can obtain as an organization. But you have to let go of your traditional security perimeter model. You can direct investments into architectures and models that leverage zero trust concept, which of course can dramatically increase the security of your technology much more broadly. So I want to focus a bit on zero trust, which has become a bit of a buzzword the last few years, but it's such an important concept, and I'm really happy to see government organizations, businesses globally adopt this mindset. And it is very important to understand that it is a mindset, it is a strategy, it is not a set of products. You are not going to buy zero trust. It is something that you have to change within yourself as a security leader, but also within your organization. And it's such a difficult concept, of course, to define, let alone even achieve. But the core of a zero trust approach is the idea that's embodied in this quote right here. Implicit trust in any single component of a complex interconnected system, like the ones we all have to run on a regular basis, can create serious security risks. So instead, trust needs to be established via multiple mechanisms and then verified continuously. As I mentioned, we've been working on zero trust for more than a decade at Google, where we've applied it to most aspects of our operations. In fact, we developed it based off of that nation-state attack, where we had a security insight that the location of your network doesn't really grant you additional security privileges. So we have implemented zero trust access with something we call Beyond Corp. So literally moving beyond the corporate network. And it was a very simple sounding mission and vision about 10 years ago, which was that every Google employee should be able to access what they need without the use of a VPN. So simple statement, simple goal, very difficult to achieve, especially 10 years ago. And really it was Google that developed a lot of the concepts and the technologies and the operational mindset that has led to what people now call zero trust. So we call it Beyond Corp. We shared our use case with the world. There's many papers that you can read about how we implement this. And then we also delivered something called Beyond Corp Enterprise, which is a solution that we've externalized to folks so that they can take advantage of our lessons, but it also integrates threat and data protection into your services. Zero trust also underpins how Google operates our production environment. So the way software is conceived, produced, managed, and interacts with other software. We call this approach Beyond Prod, and this model explains how we protect our cloud-native architecture in addition to helping organizations learn to apply the security principles that we have established internally for your own organization. So I'd encourage you to read much more. We've published a lot about both Beyond Corp and Beyond Prod. Many of the capabilities of Beyond Prod are embedded in our products and services. So looking at Beyond Corp and Beyond Prod, you realize that zero trust is more than just tools for us here at Google. It's how we envision designing, deploying, and operating safe computing environments. So the next most important thing then for you to consider when you move beyond zero trust, but it's for your security transformation, it's really about culture. And potentially culture is more important than the technology that you use. I recognize that different companies and different organizations have different cultures, and you should treasure that, and these should be authentic to your organization. But I want to walk you through how Google has developed a security culture, and we believe a very healthy security culture, and some of the attributes that we've learned over time, and consider these and determine whether they may be relevant for implementation in your own culture, or at least look and see, do you have these sorts of indicators, and could they be an aspect of a healthy or an unhealthy security culture identified in your own organization. So as you think about your security transformation, it's important to ask a few questions, like, is security deemed to be the exclusive responsibility of the security team? This is a red flag. Security is not the responsibility of people with security or risk or compliance in their title. Security is the responsibility of everybody in the organization. And I know I'm preaching a bit to the choir here, but hear me out. And to think about, as a security professional, how can you make sure that you're not taking on additional responsibilities and creating an environment where others are allowed to transfer the risk of security internal to your organization to the security team? So think hard about your operating models. How do you embed security throughout the organization? When you think about software development, do you have peer security design and code reviews? Are they common? Are they positively viewed? Is it accepted that a culture of inevitability will better prepare you for the worst case scenario? This is very important for a lot of organizations. It's hard to accept the fact that things will fail, and they will fail. We all know that as security professionals, that's the case, but it's important to be able to have a culture where that's open, and it's not something that's just discussed internal to the security team, but something that's discussed with business and mission owners across the organization. Whether you're a government or a private sector enterprise, having open conversations, but also having realistic conversations. What are not just those black swan events, so that is important to consider for your organization, but what are those very real failure scenarios? Practice those, plan those, have a plan in place for what you will do to reduce the impact, because they will happen. Prepare your CEO, prepare your director, prepare your agency head for these scenarios. I will say from my time in government, the government's very good at planning for these sorts of scenarios, but there's improvement that could be made from understanding it from a cyber perspective. So we're good at understanding the physical ramifications, but how do we translate those plans for physical preparedness and emergency preparedness to consider things like digital dependence, both within the agency, within your organization, but also what does that mean for the customers that you serve, for the stakeholders that you're responsible for the services that you're responsible for delivering to citizens. And importantly, I also want to hit on a culture of awareness. A lot of organizations have done a great job in requiring security training for all employees, but they become a bit monotonous and they become tired. So many times you have employees that just every quarter or once a year, they click through those security slideshows or those security trainings, and they're not really taking away anything new, and they might not be even taking away sort of key points that they can apply to their lives. So think about your security training. Make sure it's pervasive. Make sure it's not just once a year of something that someone's required to go through on a webinar. Make it fun, if possible. Tie it to the different scenarios that you have developed in your sort of worst case scenario planning. What does it mean for the average employee in your organization, and make them help them understand how it's relevant to their day job, and in some cases even encourage them to understand how it's relevant in their personal life. Give them the tools to help them to be safe and secure personally as well. So now I do realize that not every organization is rooted in a cloud native environment like Google. So we do want to provide as much assistance as possible for your security transformation. While having access to the latest, most advanced security technology is important, thinking about your culture is important. The knowledge of what it will take and how best to transform security to become resilient in the face of today's risk and threat environments is foundational. And this is why we just announced the formation of something called the Google Cybersecurity Action Team. So the Cybersecurity Action Team marshals experts from across Google to form what we believe to be the world's premier security advisory team. If you think of the billions of users that we protect on Gmail alone, the volume of threat information that we have, the lessons that we've learned internally, the lessons that our customers and consumers have learned, we believe we have a lot to offer to the world. So we've created this team to be able to take those insights and provide them to our customers, partners, stakeholders. And we have just one mission of this team: to support the security and digital transformation of governments, critical infrastructure, enterprises, and small businesses. We want to guide our customers through the cycle of security transformation, from your first cloud adoption roadmap and your implementation, through increasing your cyber resilience preparedness for potential events and incidents, engineering new solutions as requirements change, and going deeper into what I talked about. What does it mean to actually transform your culture if you do have an unhealthy security culture? And how can you take advantage of your commitment and your leadership commitment to digital transformation to think differently about how you do security, how you modernize your security capabilities, but also thinking about that operating model, thinking about that culture. So this effort is going to begin within Google Cloud, where I sit. It'll build on our close partnerships with organizations of all sizes, and we're going to evolve it to bring Google security to more organizations as we progress. We really believe that bringing our customers the expertise and hands-on guidance to help with your security transformation journey is just one valuable step. And we recognize that too many organizations can't wait any longer to begin their modernization efforts. They need a new baseline, and they need it now. And we're going to deliver it via the Google Cybersecurity team. So we covered a lot today. I hope to see you all soon in person. I apologize that I can't make it there, but I know this is a great event. I've been there before. And again, thanks to the NCSA and NASDAQ for being such great partners for National Cybersecurity Awareness Month every year. So as one security professional to another, I look forward to working with many of you on your cloud security journey, and I wish you all the best. Thank you.